was badly run, it should close for environmental reasons, okay. But if you ask people, would you allow it to open if it was environmentally doing the best it could, the answer is still no, right? So how far is that movement in Spaneas for gold anti, pro-environment or anti-mine in my backyard? I worry that in reality, not for the campaigners, but the opinion that supports them, it's, I just don't want the mine in my backyard. And that freaks me out. That means as soon as it leaves their backyard, they will not literally, they won't care anything about that.
I'm with you. I was going to say a bit different is that on Patrick's idea that the natural accounting and leave it on the ground, it's going to be like, we're going to use it for domestic purposes and some part of it, I hope, will be for export. But if you do that, if you restrict the supply, you're going to have the incentive for the governments, for the local government there.
Yeah, I would rather.
So it would be complementary if you use the natural accounting, especially for hugely exporting countries of minerals, to give an incentive for Cyprus to run.
I would be very happy to see more stuff being left in the ground, but doing it through the price mechanism. So that's my discipline. So I would love to see copper raised to the true price of what it takes to replace the environment for that. And you need national accounting for that. So I would, if copper suddenly jumps to price, not because of supply and demand, but because we factor in that supply price, what it needs to reclaim that area, then yeah, it would go up, and that would reduce the consumption. I wouldn't want capital controls and all this, but I would want real pricing. You cannot do that if you don't have green accounting. So I'm pro that. But I just think, you should then just integrate that in the price rather than not let the market work. And I think you can. And carbon trading has destroyed this idea. I know it has been badly run, but it's been badly run because people could get away with it, like they did here for mining, right?
Exactly. But I mean, for the capital control that the companies take out the profits and just
they won't have that many profits if their price goes up because they have to, when they sell a kilo of something, they need to factor in the cost of bringing the area back.
Oh yeah, of course.
So.
Okay, thank you. Stephanos, you want to go have a presentation? You make it very, as you see, very important.
Yeah. It's what I'm going to do. I'm going to present something different and how you can change the mentality of people, how you can try to think on a different way, and how you can change a number of things and come to the frontline practice. So I'm going to talk about the community development. Okay, some basic characteristics of community development within the framework of sustainability planning. It means that, okay, we have these problems, it's good, we know, but we're a poor country, we're a developing area, how can we change? Because in case we cannot adopt, we know that we violate environmental issues, but on the other hand, if we stop doing this, people will lose their jobs. This is what has happened at Spaneas, and over there, of course, it's a different situation. First of all, I think we don't need now to talk about sustainability and about solutions. The idea was here, I would move on, is that the new standards, the new ideas is about emulate natural cycles. That means reduce waste, reuse, recycle, and how we can change the consumption habits we may have, in particular about local communities. But let's say for me, the most important thing is to change this assumption which has been cultivated around 60s. Let's say when we're talking about local communities and when we say communities, we may start thinking of a neighborhood in the state. Usually, for a developing place or well-being community, we mean three circles: economy, society, environment. Okay, the 60s, the mass priority was economy, then was society, and then was environment. Okay, and you may have seen this schema, even one circling between the other, and they have some common areas, and over there we put also health. But just to explain a bit more about this, when we say environment, we mean water quality, air quality, natural resources, economy, stockholder profits, materials for productions and jobs, and about society, education, health, poverty, and crime. So we had, and still many politicians or policymakers think about, we have three different areas. Which area is our priority? First, we give the priority to economy, economic prospects, all of these, then to society, and then, yes, if we have some space, we're going to give some space to environment, because we have also to think for the next generation, but what's happening now with the present generation, with the current generation, and particularly what will happen with our voters. So this is, and so a few people will decide about the future because they know the best for the local society. Now, the new idea, and particularly with international development and the new theories about sustainability, we try to change the view of community, and we try to convince local communities that in the center, yes, we can put economy, but outside, the next level will be society. So economic prosperity, it means a better quality of life for the community, society, and the outer circle will be the environment, with the environment protection. We have to protect the environment, otherwise there will be no life for us, not for our children. This is now the new idea. And how, taking the other schema before, this one, where we had three different columns, now we give emphasis to this schema. It means that everybody, everything, every subsector is interrelated. Okay, this is what we try, first of all, to give education to our students, to social scientists, to international studies, development, and think that there is an interrelation between them. So when you are talking environment, at the same time you may talk about poverty, you may talk about crime, health, quality, whatever. Okay, this is the whole idea. So having that in mind, we try to say, when we go to a community, you need to change some things. Yes, I don't have money. Yes, you don't have money. You cannot build, you cannot think something massive, which needs to, in order to implement these millions, you don't have millions, but you have natural resources, you have manpower, and we can start thinking and doing things at the local level. Okay, thinking about an interrelation, about an ecosystem. Okay, and now you have to try also to think about technology, how you can do things, how you can interrelate things, small steps. Okay, and those, the first, if you do some small steps, then you move on to something bigger. And then what you try at the same time to work at different levels. You try the most important level, of course, is the local society, local community, but at the same time, you try to work and influence a strategic level, which in this case, we're talking about the government. Okay? And the government, each state, has to become proactive, has to think ahead, and has to listen, And the experts, several experts, they have to put on the table the different factors that may influence economy, quality of health, quality of life for the citizens. And also, now, the new idea we put is the inclusion idea, that everybody have, at least they need to have equal opportunities to participate into the decision making, into the changes, and into the new and better quality of life that someone is promising to them. That's why when first we're talking about inclusion policies, and then we're talking about integrated policies, and over there now we try to bring and link together planning policy and sustainability, and better life, better quality of life for the citizens. And of course, first we are moving from the local level to a more strategic level. This is the idea. Okay, now those are in theory. I can talk for hours about this, how you can influence this and that, but in few words, how you can produce some small changes within the community. First of all, you go and talk to the community, try to engage the whole community to the change you would like to make. And of course, at the same time, you have to understand the place, the local conditions, political conditions, economic, cultural, all these factors that may put a challenge to your thinking, your planning, or they may help. And then you try to create a plan, okay, with them, not for them. In the past, and for me, an obsession I have with international aid, I believe in international aid, but let's say in most of the cases, particularly in the past, there were some experts, let's say from Europe. Europe has invested in the last 7 years 340 billion euros in Africa, okay, in order to do a number of things, but in most of the cases they didn't ask the people what to do because they knew better from those people, which is a fatal mistake, at least for me. And then when you do a plan with stakeholders, with those people, you try to implement, of course, at the same time, to make it contingency planning, etc., etc. There's a huge step process. Of course, at the same time, here it's good to say, but when you try to do this, the first question usually politicians or your opponents may raise is, why do you think this is a small village or this is a small city? Do you believe that they have a capacity to do things, or they have a capacity to make a plan, or to deliver something unique? They're just farmers, or they are not educated, they don't know what to do, or we are the experts. Okay, usually your opponents, so we know the best for them. The second question is what barriers are there? You may have a dream, but in order to implement your dream, it takes time. So and also you have your opponents on that. And when I say does this template contain the right ideas, is when you do a policy planning, how can you be sure that this is the best for them? Okay, those are some ideas you as a planner, as a social planner, you have to think ahead and you have to discuss with the people that they would like to make some changes. Just a brief to give you an idea how we try to make a change to intervene to local communities and even say to them that you have to take in your hands the decisions, even if you don't like something, a factory, a mine, or something else that pollutes the environment or destroys the area, and you would like to intervene, you have to follow, let's say, basic stakeholder analysis. Okay? Over there are more steps or different phases, but let's say a guide, a general guide is who is your stakeholder, how important this stakeholder is for the success of the business, what's doing, what are the motives behind this, behind the other, who may influence positive your idea or negative, who will be your opponent. It's something you have to find out. You have to do a primary research on the ground. Some people they call it action research, but it's research on the ground. You have to talk with people. You have to talk with the local leaders, formal and informal local leaders. You have to take some interviews. You have to visit the area morning, afternoon, night to see what's happening, why the people are thinking of that way, and then you make the initial plan and you design with them how they would like and what kind of things they would like to change without having money from outsource, okay, from abroad or from the government, what they can do in order to become responsible or active citizens, as we say now in Europe. And here is another schema. I like different kind of schemas where you can see I have used, it's not mine, some guys many years ago said that, okay, put this, the issue you would like to discuss, to raise in the middle, and then take the different, number of different parameters, check them out and see, and then you may think what is the best solution or decide about the best person in order to implement an idea. And again, you have to think what we are saying, because I'm a social worker, what we are saying, we cannot decide for the people without the people. Okay, this is what we say to the people, this is what I believe. When you do a plan, you may initiate a plan, but at the same time you have to explore what does the community want. So you have to make them to think about about 10 years ahead. Okay. Usually when we do planning we say 5, but you start saying, okay, think of yourself 10 years time. Okay. Think that you have a family, children, grandchildren, think that you may be rich or poor, or this, what kind of place you would like to live. Think not now. Even if you are in a good or bad position, just think 10 years ahead, and then you go back and say, okay, let's come back to the reality, just think what you want to do in 5 years' time, planning to reach a point in 10 years' time. That's why we start and we say what is the community's vision, what they want to do, where they would like to move on that community. Of course, this does not take one day, one after. Okay, it's a long process, but it doesn't take years. Okay, it takes some time, maybe a month or 2 months, and because you discuss, you change things, and then you set up a vision. Someone has to decide about the vision. Without having the longer vision, you cannot do anything. That's why I agree with what Alex said before. Okay, let's say either in case we have in Cyprus gold, what do you want to do with gold? Do you want to extract gold or something like this? For how many years? Why do we need gold now? This is a strategic question. How do we see Cyprus or another country in 10 years' time? It's a total question. Let's say, for example, I'm from Greece. When I went to UK years ago, I think at some point in 2003, 2002, they were discussing how they would like to see UK 2012, and they agreed, the whole parliament. Okay, they had different views, different ways how they would reach what they would like to do in 2012, but for me, it was amazing because they sat down and they said, they agreed at the end of the day, and they said that in 10 years' time, we would like to see UK like this. Okay, which it's something strategically right. Let's say that's why when you say, shall I use mines or not, goals or whatever, okay, just decide why. Who is going to benefit out of it? And the same question is now with the gas. Okay, do we want gas? Why? And how long are we going to use gas, for example? Okay, we have an energy guy here, and later on I think he can intervene on this and say, yes, gas may be a solution for Cyprus. Even me, I believe so, if we follow certain parameters. Otherwise, we may be a disaster. But you see, you have to decide now, for 10 years' time or 20 years' time, how we would like to see Cyprus with that amount of gas, whatever. I'm not an expert, I guess.
No.
Other economics guy, and I think this is a major problem for Africa. Okay, we saw that documentary, which is brilliant for me, and for me, it's that they decided, or nobody thought, or gave a seat, I'm sorry for my expression, for 1,000 people. Okay, they said it's better for the country to get $1,000 per year and not to take care for 1,000 people. Okay, is it something we would like? And I think this is also a discussion we have to initiate, and we have to help social movements or activists or even push the governments to start when they talk with other states, with developing countries. This has to be on the agenda. Yeah.
Okay, this links to political institutions. If the institution is repressive of the people that don't really acknowledge the right of the people to exist and have social mobility or have horizontal mobility or anything like that, and is a bit corrupt, then these things the strategic thought is happening, but it's happening only for the narrow interest of that elite, that political elite. So, I mean,
think globally, act locally. Okay, it's at the same time you have to think at two levels. Okay, let's say for my side, we tend to give emphasis to the local level, but at the same time, you have to do something for the global, international level. Because you see, you give an example with 1-2 communities, you train, you educate communities how to change things, how to participate, to engage into decision-making process, to participations, whatever, but at the same time, you have to give emphasis to the national level. And you train them to discuss, let's say in the past about political institutions in Porto Alegre, in Brazil, they started a movement where in one area the people could become part of the local council, but they had to participate to weekly meetings where people they could ask questions about this or that, or even people could decide that you are no more good to become a local councillor. With valid, because it was an experiment, but it was for me a good experiment in order to train people to participate to local government and participate to the decision-making process. Okay, not to have, let's say, someone you don't know, or because he's an expert, he's a rich guy, or he's a famous politician. Okay, they will decide for me. In Europe, let's say in Switzerland, we have a good example of where they vote. Let's say they may vote several times per year if they like this or not. Okay, this is Switzerland, Cyprus, not Switzerland, but we have some examples. Even now here.
No, please finish.
Even now in other cities, let's say because I'm working with migrants, they have local migrants councils. It's usually they don't take a decision, but now the city council, in case they would like to make a new policy or they would like to develop an area or whatever, they have to ask also migrants who live in that city to say their view, because the change may affect their lives. And when say they are not normal yet integrated citizens, but they respect them and they give them some voice. It's slowly, you can change a number of things at local level, but at the same time, you have to think about the forest, not only the wood. Yes.
How would you think about implementing this when we talk about sustainable consumption? Because clearly there you have local, but you think global.
Yeah.
And how would you get around drafting like a plan for that? Because it's something we're way behind in Cyprus, right?
Yeah, but when you have an idea, let's say you are an expert, you have an idea, or you find some other people who join your idea, and first of all you test it out, okay, at a local level. In case there will be success example, you disseminate the information. And people usually, when they see something different is happening in this area, and if you are going to advertise it well, other people will follow it. I remember here in Cyprus about recycling some years ago. There was an interview at Xylophago. It's a small village, Larnaca, Mochostos areas over there. And they said that from the time it was a prototype area for recycling. And they said that they earned around 30% by they reduced the waste a lot, and also they reduced the amount they used to give to cleaning services. So they said that by doing this and giving emphasis, we reduce our expenses around 20–30%. Otherwise, we have to put charges, more charges in our local citizens in that area. So for me, this is a good example of how you can disseminate information, how you can show that, yes, if I have an idea, if I can change the habit, consumption habit slowly, you cannot expect that you run something for 6 months, 1 year, in order to change daily customs and produce and change the idea about sustainability. It takes time, and usually you start with the younger generation from schools, from primary schools for me, and at the same time secondary, and at the same time with the universities, and also with the elderly people, because usually they are with children. Yeah.
But usually, I mean, the whole point is like you have the narrow frame of the community. The community has some interests. Sometimes they align with the national interests. Sometimes they don't align with the national interests. Now, okay, you have two stakeholders, main stakeholders. The community which will be directly influenced by a project, let's say mine, and the federal or national government that will also benefit, be affected by the project. The one will be mainly negative. I mean, by breaking their livelihoods in the way that they're living in the environment, in their houses and whatever. And the other one is maybe positive in that they will have an increased revenue that they can then use for redistribute to in the country, or if it's a corrupted country, to use it for their own means. But how do you reconcile the two, if there's a difference between them? So who matters more, community or national state in this sense?
First of all, as a social planner, you have to take a position in your life, okay, and take a position with whom you are. Okay, it's not like, of course, when I say take a position, it's not black and white, okay, and let's say even if you resist to something you don't like, at the end of the day, you make some compromises. As Alex said, say, okay, if we decide as Cyprus, as Europe, to set up a mine, or another business which is bad for the environment, okay, you may allow it as long as you will put strict regulations, as long as you will give something back to the community. When I say something, not only something, let's say only the regular taxes. I think in Africa, from what Patrick illustrated very well, it was that, okay, they gave the minimum they could. Okay, they didn't give something back. It's not only, okay, when even in the documentary, they said to the people, okay, we would like to leave this area, go to another area, and over there you will have a better quality of houses. Not from soil, but most probably from cement. More stable, and also you will have your own land. But they didn't say, or they didn't do anything in order to develop that area, in order to arrange for those people to find jobs or cultivate products or retrain them or re-educate them in order to have some financial, cultural, social development in the new area. They just said to them, go and live now in that area. Similar cases I have heard in China. I was on the national conferences and there was a decision, a state decision, that they moved, I think, if I remember well, close to 200,000 people because they got in that area to build a huge dam for electricity. And they moved the people to other areas. And that was it. New buildings, but nothing else. And then they had similar problems, or different kind of problems. And how they would react on those problems. Similar cases. A similar case was also in Japan with the nuclear factory, Fukushima, where in that area, from that area, they moved away thousands of people. And they thought that by moving people to other areas, it was enough. By securing them houses, it was enough. It is enough. Okay, you have to work with the people in order to build the community sense. And when you build the community sense, think are not stupid for me. All people, even with the lowest educational background or the highest educational background, they are smart enough, they have abilities, capabilities, and they are able to think for their future. What you do is actually you give them some tools or you initiate some senses and you let them think what they want to do. And then when you have a good example, you expand, or when you create relationships with neighboring areas, and the other people, they see that, okay, that was good, they changed something, it's best. People tend to follow the same example, and at the same time, they tend to put pressure on the governments in order to change a number of things. But at the same time, that's why I'm saying, when you have to look at both levels. You cannot ignore the strategic level, but priority is given to, and of course, all the time there are people who are opponents, as you said. It's, you evaluate your power. And sometimes, especially at the beginning, you may do some compromises. It's very, in theory, you have your right with your side. In practice, things are a bit different. Okay, so you cannot change, let's say, the example of mines, because in Greece, a few months ago with the mine, the gold mine, the company fired 2,000–3,000 people the same day. And in that area, there are not any more jobs. Let's say if we calculate that each person who is working over there has 2 or 3 dependent members, it means that there's a direct effect to 10,000 people in a poor area. So, and you have elections, or you have politicians Just think that if you're a politician and you stop that mind, and 10,000 people were affected, are you going to be over there to talk to them? You're afraid to do that. This is a reality. So what can you do? Are you going to shut down the minds? I think that's why I like the project. You say, or even the title of the conference or this week, stop mad mining. Do not stop. It's something different from stop mining. Mad mining. And I think this is, let's say, Africa is a very rich region, has everything. Okay, you cannot say that, okay, stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing the other things. How are they going to survive? What you can say, let's think again, let's sit down and talk again, how we can reutilize our resources, how we can give some more things to other people. Or how, let's discuss also about the environment, let's discuss about our own people and also with the companies. Okay, you make wealth, okay, you have to invest back to the country. Otherwise, you see, maybe, and I say that if I say that in a huge audience, take radical decisions, I think they will put me a label. Radical decisions, maybe it's not only capital controls, maybe you may nationalize some companies at least for a period of time in order to illustrate, yes, I have the power. Because in some countries they have lost the power, like in Latin America, where they privatized water. That's why even in Cyprus here, when they say that they are going to privatize electricity, it's good and bad.